welcome to Talk Show 1.0, also known as Launchpad. This is a production of the Bay Area Video Coalition and also the Bay Area Public Access. My name's Ian Levy, and here on the show we like to talk to artists who are working all over the Bay Area. And today we have the amazing Judy Cerda, who is an actress here, whose works, I believe, all over the Bay Area, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. So I don't, other than one very bad childhood play, I have not done much acting, which hopefully no one ever will remember or see it. It's always interested me how people usually get their first start. What originally attracted you to kind of acting when you were first?
Well, when I was a little girl, about 5 years old, I used to love watching the commercials on TV and imitating them. So I would entertain my family with the commercials. I would actually memorize some of them and come out and say, hey, I can do that commercial, and then I'd perform it for them. And then when I realized that the people on TV were not little people inside the box, but actually real people, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I started using a tape recorder and got together with kids in the neighborhood and had us do our own movies on my tape recorder back then. And I would tell everybody what to say. I was the director, and then I would write stories and have us act it out. So I knew from a very young childhood that I really wanted to be an actress.
Multi-talented right out the gate. That's good. Do you remember specifically any of the commercials, what the products were for?
I remember doing a commercial for Ultra Bright.
Okay, I don't even know if I know what Ultra Bright is.
A toothpaste?
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I don't think that's on the market anymore, but it was a whitening toothpaste. I used to love the commercial, and I would imitate that a lot.
No, that's great. I used to just repeat commercials back to my mom all the time. I think great annoyance to her. But that's good. And then what did you then kind of in school, did you kind of go more for acting?
Not in school. My parents actually enrolled me in dance classes, so I started off as a dancer doing jazz, tap, ballet, and modern and tumbling. And so I started performing on stage and really liked it. And then as I got a little older in my teens, I really went for it, entering teenage beauty pageants and dancing in different performance groups, dancing in competitions. And as I won some, I became very confident about it. But I knew that acting was really what I wanted to do. However, I was very shy as a young child. When I was very young, I was actually brave about doing the commercials for family members, but as I got a little older in school, I was very shy, and I found that dancing helped me get over that because you don't have to talk to anybody when you're dancing, just perform on stage. So I started performing with dance troupes and then started auditioning for real theaters and musicals and plays, and so I started off pretty much in theater, and then I thought about it and realized theater isn't really what I want to do anymore. I've done it now. I'm ready to move on to films and TV.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Did you have a particular favorite theater production you were part of?
Oh, yes. There were two that really stand out in my mind, Grease and A Chorus Line.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They were great productions.
I particularly like A Chorus Line. So I never watched that much of Grease. Like, I've seen the movie and stuff. I've never seen a production, but I like A Chorus Line quite a bit.
Yeah, I played B.B. Bensenheimer, so I got to sing this beautiful song called At the Ballet, which I really could relate to. And we had 5-hour rehearsals every night. This was in Santa Cruz County, and so I really got a workout every night because we had so many dance routines to learn and so many different songs to learn too, but it was a fabulous production.
Would you say, because you said you were slightly on the shyer kind of side, was it intimidating at first to go into performing in front of people?
Oh, yes. I would get so nervous when I would audition. I could feel my hands trembling. And I read books on self-assertiveness and overcoming shyness to help myself and really just pushed myself. And as I started getting cast, that's when I got my confidence and became much more confident with it. But I do remember auditioning for the first time and my hands trembling when I got up there.
What was that first audition for?
It was for a musical called Hello, Dolly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was shaking really bad and then cried the whole way home with my mother.
Oh, no. How'd the audition go?
Not too good. I barely sung above a whisper because I was so scared up on the stage. But after that, I made up my mind I was really going to work on it, work on the singing, because I did a lot of singing too.
Yeah.
So I really pushed myself in that area too. And as I started getting parts, the confidence built up, and now it's very natural to me. Now I don't get nervous anymore. I'm very happy with what I do.
What was the first part you landed, would you say? Do you remember?
It was in plays. I think it was a play called The Folks Next Door. I I think that was my first lead role, playing a daughter in this play whose family moves next door to the president, and it was a good comedy.
That's amazing. It must have been a big.
It was very exciting.
Yeah. Do you remember like kind of your state of mind when you first found out when you got it?
Oh,
like,
I was so excited. I was just thrilled. Yeah, it was just great to hear that.
No, that's really amazing. What kind of originally made you want to move on from theater and go into more kind of film work originally?
Well, because I really enjoyed TV and commercials and films, and I knew that theater was good, but most of the theater groups really didn't pay in the area, in the Bay Area, so you can't make a living doing that. However, you can make a living off of TV and films and commercials if you keep busy enough. And really being on the screen just meant more to me. It had run its course with the theater. I love performing in front of audiences, but it came to a point where it had run its course, and I said, okay, I've done all that now. Now I need new challenges. So then I started auditioning for films, usually student films, and at first it wasn't easy because I was very theatrical with my acting, and I had to learn to tone it down. You don't have to project as much when you're on film, and you don't have to be as expressive in your voice. You can be a little more natural. So I took lots of acting classes in that area from a wonderful instructor named Dennis Sakamoto. I took commercial acting and TV acting from him and film acting, and it turned out really good. And as I started getting parts, I knew this was what I wanted to do.
Oh, that's really amazing. What would you say is like a big, because what would you say is like the biggest misconception? Because a lot of people know about actors, of course, everyone knows what an actor is, but so few people actually pursue it and go for it.
Right.
Do you find like people have a lot of misconceptions about what your life is like?
Yes, they do. There are some that really think that it's very easy. They think if you want a part that it's guaranteed you're going to get it. One friend said that to me once, that she was thinking about it, and I said, well, you should get some training. And she said, well, don't you just call up and say, I want to play this part? And I was very amazed at that anybody would think that. But I told her, no, you have to compete. You have to audition. There are so many other actors out there. There's thousands out there. You got to get good headshots, start building up a resume, get some demo reels, get some of your work on camera, because all this stuff helps in getting you cast. So it's really not easy. It may look easy when you get cast a lot and you do a lot of work the way I do, but it's really not easy because you do have to do a lot of preparation, and you do have to really promote yourself out there to get the work. So it's a tough career. It's well worth it if it's what your heart desires, but it is tough.
I feel like that's the trick with most real passions. The trick is taking something that's very hard to do and making it look easy, and that's how you've kind of made it, or have some success in your field.
Right.
So,
exactly.
No, that's really impressive. Do you find that as time goes on, does it get easier, or is it still kind of the same challenge it was originally to get into a role and kind of?
It's easier because now I have the confidence. And I have a lot of experience behind me. I know that I have great credits on my resume, and I know I have dozens and dozens of film clips on YouTube and commercial clips, which helps, because if you could present that when you're applying for a position on the casting sites, not just say, here's a picture and resume, but look, you can see me doing this commercial, you can see me doing that comedy video. It really helps, because then they can look at you and see you on camera and say, wow, this person may be good for this part. She really resembles it. So it gets easier like that, but it's still a lot of work. I have to check the casting sites about 5 times a day, so I got to get on my computer, carefully choose which photos and videos pertain to the role, so I can make sure I send out something that's similar to what they're casting. So it is a lot of work.
Do you have a particular style of performing? Would you say, because there's some actors who kind of play variations of themselves, and some who like completely change who they are, and are the more kind of method of like constantly thinking about their character. Where would you say you kind of fall in the spectrum of style of actor?
It's really been a variety. I mean, there's certain roles I tend to cast in a lot, such as TV reporters. I play girlfriends and wives a lot. I get cast in a lot of horror movies as victims. So there are certain roles I do tend to play a lot of. Real estate agents, I get a lot of those. I've gotten a lot of very flirtatious ones. And some of the flirtatious ones I play often use bad language, which is not like me. So that's a stretch, because I don't go around talking like that. But it's fun to get out of yourself and do something that's really different, such as the the video I did called Up and Coming Grassroots Organization, I played a TV reporter, but it was full of innuendos.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, and it's really funny. People have just loved it. It's called Up and Coming Grassroots Organization, and I play Samantha Smith, the TV reporter, and it's really, really funny. So I would recommend anybody that likes comedy to watch that.
Oh, great. No, I'm a huge comedy fan. So
Great.
I'll definitely check that out. Is there a single role that stands out in your mind as like the most different from who you are as a person that you had to perform?
The most different. I would have to say My Worst Nightmare, because I played a mom in that, which I'm not in real life, so that's very different for me.
Yeah.
And they also put aging makeup on me to make me look older because the kids looked too close in age.
Yeah.
So I had to be made to look older as if I could be their mother, and they gave me this older husband. And it was a great film that made it in lots of film festivals. It was also a horror movie, My Last Nightmare. But it was... Oh no, actually My Worst Nightmare.
Okay.
Excuse me. My Worst Nightmare. It played in so many film festivals, but it was a different kind of role, but it really turned out well because the scenes in it were just, it was horror, but it was also a little bit humorous.
The main problem isn't being dead. It's that I'm still conscious.
But it just shows how a dream can really get out of hand. It's written from the perspective of the son.
Oh wow, that sounds very cool.
Yeah.
You say you've acted in a lot of horror films. Are you a big horror fan?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I love the horror movies.
Okay.
Whenever I'm going to the movies, that's the one I pick right away as a horror movie. And I did a really great one last year called El Camino by Tank Frank Films. Francisco Lopez directed it, and it was a wonderful film. I played this Aunt Maria taking her little nephew out for a day in the woods while babysitting him, and then we run into terrible tragedies out there. And it played at the World Theater in Seaside in December. It really did well, and the director is submitting it to other film festivals, so it should be playing around. But it was a really good one, and I was very proud of that. Yeah. Also, another one called In 3 Days, where I played Cousin Gina, who meets her cousin at a house where her aunt, who passed away, lived. They're there to settle her estate. And it was just a beautiful house, just absolutely gorgeous, very old-fashioned looking, so it fit the film really well. This was part of a horror film festival that played at Santana Row Cine Arts Theater, and it also ended up playing at the Roxy Theater in San Francisco, and it won an award for Best Special Effects. So I was very proud to be in that. Yeah. The role was really good. I was with a cousin I didn't get along with too well, which is very typical when somebody passes away, to be with relatives who don't get along that well. But I was very happy about that one.
I think one of the things I like, because I'm a fan of horror films also, I think one of the things I like is going, particularly horror, seeing it in like a theater with an audience of people, because it's such a visceral kind of reaction of like people are, you know, if it's a good movie, everyone's on the same page and they're into it, you know, and like you hear just people like screaming and shouting together. Do you have any particular memories of like going to a screening of a movie you were in and like just kind of feeling like the audience reaction? Yes,
both El Camino and In 3 Days played in theaters, and there were a lot of reactions there, and I could tell people got kind of jumpy at certain scenes when I was running on the stairways and stuff. So and then when I was kidnapped in the movie El Camino, I could see the reactions.
Is it strange to see like kind of horrible things happen to you in horror films, like getting kidnapped or something, or is it?
It's actually a little funny to me
Yeah.
because I know the stories behind it. For example, in El Camino, for one of the scenes where the guy is carrying me off to be kidnapped, he actually tripped over a rock and dropped me and
Oh, no.
fell on me. Yeah, I had a scraped up leg for a couple
Oh,
of
no.
weeks after that. But watching the movie, I remember that scene, and it actually makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you know the background of everything or how many takes it took for the scene, you're not scared by seeing yourself up there. It just comes off being a little funny to you.
Do you have any other particular like silly stories from any of the sets where it was just like, I mean, similar things like that where things just go horrifically wrong? Sorry, bad pun. That was unintentional.
No,
It
that's
just-
okay. Just the fall in 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, the fall in El Camino.
Okay, yeah.
In 3 days, the shoot went very well. We didn't have
Okay.
any mishaps like that, other than seeing a gross, disgusting rat downstairs in the
Eesh.
basement where we were filming. Yeah, that was a little scary in itself because we did some scenes down in a freezing cold basement, and I was in lingerie for the scene, so I was quite cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great shoot that went half the day and then all night. I didn't get home until the next morning,
Oh,
but
wow.
it was well worth it because it turned out well.
One thing I have some friends who do acting, and they tell me one misconception is when you're on a film set, the amount of downtime you have, where it's not just you're just sitting there waiting for people to set
Right,
shots and set lights
exactly.
and. Yeah, so what do you do, would you say, like to entertain yourself on a film set?
Well, I've done a lot of Discovery ID TV shows, such as I Almost Got Away with It, Wives
Yeah.
with Knives, Sex Sent Me to the Slammer, The Day I Almost Died. We Did It for Love. And a lot of times you are waiting around because there's so many different scenes involved in the TV
Yeah.
shows. So sometimes I'll bring along something to read, or I'll
Yeah.
check my emails on my phone, visit with other actors, because a lot of times I run into actors I know from different shoots. So it's nice to catch up with them, see what they're doing, and talk about things, and just, you make the best of it. Have some fun while you're waiting there on set.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it's it's always good to entertain yourself in however way you
Yes,
can.
yes.
Yeah.
Plus, they put out great snacks too on Discovery ID shows. They put out tons of snacks.
It's-
Yeah.
No one told me about the snacks. Maybe I should
Oh.
get into acting. That's why I want it. Just
Yeah. Some of the sets do put out an incredible amount of treats, so it's really funny. You have plenty there while you're waiting around.
So, what would you say to someone if someone wanted to get into acting, other than for the snacks, of course, but for maybe a more legitimate reason? What would be your advice to kind of a new actor kind of looking to break into the field?
Well, I'd say getting some training is important. Starting off doing plays is a good background
Yeah.
too, because it really helps you think on your feet when you're performing on stage, and lets you get out of yourself and learn about projection so that you become more confident. Even though you have to then tone it down for
Yeah.
film, it's good to learn it, because a lot of times too on film some actors are too quiet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've been on sets where directors have said, we're not hearing you.
Yeah, yeah.
The recording person says they're not picking up the sound. You have to speak up. You have to speak up. I've heard that said to a lot of actors who get into this whispering mode, thinking that because they're on camera, everything's going to be picked up, when it's not true. You got to be heard. Some scenes actually haven't turned out and have had to be redone if actors are too quiet. So I think getting into theater, getting out of yourself, getting that confidence is important. Taking acting classes and starting off in student films.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
in student films, they're pretty much learning, although some of them are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
Some of them are learning, and if you're just a beginner too, they're more likely to cast you than to give you a chance, because you're giving them
yeah.
a chance. So it's a way to build up a good resume, build up your reel, try to get copies of your work.
Yeah. Did you have, you said you used to do a lot of student film stuff. Did you have good experiences mostly with working with student films? Or
I did. There were only a few that really didn't turn out, that I didn't hear back from because something was wrong with their sound, something was
Yeah.
wrong with the lighting, and it was all dark, something went wrong. But for the most part, a lot of them turned out pretty good products. And some of them will also get them in film festivals along
Yeah.
with the independent producers' films as well.
do you have any bits of advice that someone, like, say, gave you when you were first starting out that stuck with you as you were going along?
I don't really recall anybody giving me advice.
Okay.
I felt like I was alone in it because I didn't really know any actors or
Yeah.
people in the business. I just knew that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
other than my acting teacher saying, think about beforehand, the moment before, what happened. You're walking into the situation, let's say you're arguing with your husband. Think about it. What happened before? Something must have triggered me. Something must have made me mad before I, started the argument. So you have to think about that the moment before. You also have to think about, letting yourself feel it, not forcing it. If you have to do a sad scene, think about something that really does make you sad in real life to help bring the tears out, make you realize what it is, that makes you sad in life. Bring it out and put it into the character.
So I noticed in your film credits that you were, was it a judge on a fish taco contest?
Yes, it was called Best in Chow TV Show, a national TV show that I was cast from an LA casting agency. So I was very excited to get on that. And I played a judge where they actually filmed it in San Francisco, having us judge 3 different taco restaurants that were supposedly the best. But it was a really fun day because not only do we give our opinions about them on camera, but we also got to do the award ceremony. And I was so honored to hold the trophy and hand it to the host to hand to the winner. So I got to hold the big, beautiful trophy. It's now online for anybody who's missed it. You can look on my YouTube. I copied it onto my YouTube for Judy Cerda. And Best in Chow, it was a really fun experience. They had a bus that took us around to the different restaurants in San Francisco that day, and a few of the actors I had worked with before, so it was so nice to see them again, and we really had a fun time with it. Yeah, it was different.
So what was the winner? Do you remember what was the best fish taco?
I don't remember the name, but I do remember that they were a family-owned business, that it had passed through the generations. So it was nice that they got it.
Kind of, giving a little win for a win for the little guy.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's very good. Are you normally a fan of fish tacos?
No. Never had one before until the show.
To be fair, I'm not sure I've ever had a fish taco.
Yeah,
so.
It's different.
So other than judging fish taco competitions, what kind of do you see your career going in the future? Where do you want to kind of expand?
I hope to get more TV episodes. I did one last year called Rising Tide, which was for Santa Cruz Pacific Theater Television, and I had the lead role of Ellen, a cosmetics company owner, in it, and there was tons of dialogue to memorize, and there were several people, the office workers, and we all had to really feed off of each other. So it was done live for the TV station. So it was almost like doing a theater production, but it was on TV, and now it's online too. Rising Tide. It was really a great show, and I hope to do many more like that. I like the big roles like that, and I love playing the leads. I love doing lots of TV episodes. That really fascinates me. I also did a commercial for Fox TV a year ago, so I was excited to do that, playing a date who can't get enough of the news. So that's playing on TV over and over, I hear, on KTVU, Fox TV. So definitely TV commercials and TV shows are my main focus.
Okay, that's very good. And then is there any project in particular that you just feel very proud about, that you would want other people to look, that we haven't already, one that we haven't already discussed? Do you have any kind of like a pinnacle of like that's where I really nailed it, like that's where I did an amazing job?
Other than the horror movies and Rising Tide, I would have to say a lot of comedy videos. My role of Jennifer Curva in Taking Liberty. That was, I have a scene of that online. That movie's still being edited. My role of Madeline Barton, a scientist in the movie Andrea, which is still being edited, though I have some scenes online. I was very proud of those roles. And I've also done a lot of music videos too, with a special rapper named 3Pac, who died a year and a half ago, but he was a very special person, and we did some really great music videos together that wound up on World Star Hip Hop and in different places. So I was very proud of those.
Okay, no, that's very cool. I don't know anything about music videos, so that's awesome.
Yeah, music videos are great. I love music and I love dancing, so I get to utilize my dancing in those and hear some great music.
Yeah. So I think, and kind of for a closing comment, I'm always interested in people who kind of take their passion and turn it into their career. And I'm just wondering, do you still feel like a passion for acting?
Oh, yes. Yes, I definitely do. Every time I'm cast in something, the excitement's still there. When I have something play on TV or in a movie theater or do a commercial, I do a lot of spokeswoman roles in commercials. I'm always very thrilled to see it. And I say, this is why I became an actress. It gives me such pleasure. I just love it.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, Judy, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you so much.
And I think that concludes our time for today. So This has been Talk Show 1.0, also known as Launchpad. We'll see you guys next week.